time. Is everyone okay with being recorded? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
All right, Andre, I'm ready for you.
All right, awesome. Hello, congratulations on making it to Novice Finals of CP Nationals 2024. Woo! Very excellent. So, I'm Andre, your chair for this round. With me on the panel are...
We can all sit on you. My name is Varun.
Jonah, Nyx here.
Very cool. So, I guess we'll start with the speaker introduction, and then we'll do motion, and then we will, without any further things that we do.
Hi, my name is Alice, and your pronouns. I'll be speaking first. We'll be doing 6-4.
My name is Nyx, and I use they, them pronouns. Okay, I'm Bridget Li. Share pronouns, please. I'll be speaking first. We're gonna do split, so I'm gonna do a reply.
Vijay, he, him. I'll be speaking second.
Awesome. All right. So, how do you want to drop motion?
We'll put it into the chat.
Discord?
Is it motion clarification?
Yeah, we'll check it. My display name is Alice. There's an info slide, and then the motion is quite short, but yeah. Okay. Post?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Ooh, this is spicy.
You want me to read it out loud?
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. A face reveal is a photograph or video posted showing a faceless content creator's true facial appearance. You are a faceless content creator, and recently, some people in your audience have been calling for a face reveal. Examples of other faceless content creators include, but are not limited to, CGP Grey, Zhang, Banksy, Daft Punk, etc. The motion reads: this house would choose to deny their audience a face reveal.
All right, fantastic. Hart, you're 1 minute. No, is it off choice?
No.
No. All right, Hart, you're 1 minute.
How famous are you?
You're probably decently sized. I think there's no delta if there's you're not at least a little bit decently sized. So
Right.
a million or more fans.
Do we know anything about your fan base?
Yeah.
I think it's probably clearing framing where it's just a generic regular fan base.
Okay, but it's not especially toxic or especially supportive.
No.
Okay.
Yeah. And then content creator, you mean like YouTuber or TikToker, not a musician.
I think that this be both.
Yeah, definitely.
So Daft Punk in the inside, it's not a musician, it's
Okay, it's just a famous person, not content creator. Okay.
Yeah,
That
well, I mean,
creates
when you're
art.
creating music, you are also a creator.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just tell the people outside the door to move away just a little bit?
Sure. Are we?
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry?
Are you studying it now?
Hmm?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you just have to know. It's not a big deal. Just say
Alright,
Alright.
Just your answer to this size of audience question. I just
Big audience.
Big audience.
Big audience. Big issue audience.
Alright, PM, what are you ready?
Panel, we know what happened when Zhang did his face reveal. We do not want to be repeatedly bullied. We do not want our safety compromised. This is why I'm so proud to propose 2 points of framing and then 2 points of argumentation on privacy and safety and bullying and mental health. So first point of framing. I think that what we need to do to win this debate is to prove that doing a face reveal will be more harmful than good to your personal self. I think you're probably a normal person in status quo. You probably aren't a narcissist. You probably are just normal. You care about your family, friends. You care about your mental health. You care about generally what normal people care about. I think then on to the second point of framing. I think that you know that you're probably that it's not it's not everyone in your audience who is asking for this face reveal. It's probably just a small minority, and I think that you want to set boundaries with your audience. You probably want to you probably know that the people who care the most aren't people that you want to keep in your audience. You probably want to have an audience that respects your privacy, and that is why we're so proud to propose. Okay, so first point of argumentation on privacy and safety. I think that we know we have a right to privacy, and I think we want to keep that right to privacy, right? I think no matter how many people call for a face reveal, it doesn't outweigh the immediate barrier of having like a normal life outside of your content. I think that like the safety of everyone you know and yourself is being compromised in this situation. The loss of anonymity, especially for minorities in the status quo, is very important to have, especially online. I think like this example is clearly illustrated by like Jaded Animations, who is like an animated YouTuber who like posts like a drawn figure of herself that is repeatedly sexualized online. I think like when she had to do a face reveal, she was then sexualized more in status quo. Sure.
So Ninja Jane Animations used the opportunity of exposing her face to educate people on the values of her privacy and on the reasons why she decided not to for so long.
I think like even then she was forced to. I think like in the like herself didn't want to have to do it. She was like forced to do it. I think like she would want to have the safety still be a thing, and I think like as like a person you would choose to deny your audience because you want the safety. I think that overweighs like educating your audience because you probably don't want to be stalked home and sexualized online. Okay, I think like you know that in status quo stalkers exist, and having and giving your people like the idea of what your face looks like increases that to to an extent, right? It's like doctors exist on both sides, but when the doctors like have your face, you are then like prone to like more attack. I think like this is like very like symmetric to like similar to like saying this is where I live. It's like very similar to that, where it's like you're giving them more things for them to dox you on. I think that you don't want to like just reveal this information. You want to keep your safety a thing. I think the loss of anonymity and protection makes it so that you are now at risk for like haters following you home. You're now at risk you're now also at risk, since like the internet is like a very big thing, for like people to find your family and friends on Facebook, on Instagram, right? Your family probably isn't like as like private as you. They probably posted you like on their Facebook way back in like 2005. And I think that like in the sense, you are not only giving your audience, you're not just giving your audience this face reveal, you're giving like the whole world your face. And this then leads to people being able to like track your mom, then track your sisters, then track like your third cousin twice removed. I think like in this sense, you are exposing yourself to way more than you want to expose, and you lose that sense of being able to have like a normal life, right? When you get recognized in the streets, I think you like probably don't want that. You probably want to be able to like have a dinner regularly alone with your family without being like recognized like, oh, you're that YouTuber online that's kind of ugly. I think you care about this in this sense. Okay, this then leads to my second point on the bullying and mental health. I think that like if you are ugly, especially you're commercially unattractive, you're ugly in some way, you know that you're ugly. You probably have been bullied since you were like a little kid. You probably know that like, hey, I'm probably gonna get more bullying. I'm probably gonna be called ugly online because of my face. I think that you know this for a fact. I think like we can then like extrapolate off this from like Dream's face reveal. Dream is a very like normal looking dude. He's a very like average looking dude, but he was bullied relentlessly online for just like not meeting the expectations of his audience. I think that like what this does then is that the audience probably still have like a similar expectation of you. They probably like are like, oh, your face reveal, oh, now you're ugly. I think like what this does is very detrimental to not only your personal well-being, like your mental well-being of like, hey, I want to be able to still make content, why are they focusing on my face? I think this also makes it so that you are less inclined to be like open about yourself. I think like what this does too, you probably have an audience you probably have someone in your audience who looks very like, have similar facial features as you, right? I think that like, in this sense, you probably, as an ugly person, care about like other ugly people. You probably like care at least about like the ugly people in your audience who will be affected by seeing people bully you online. I mean, like this is like very similar to like if you're fat, you care about other fat people to some extent, and you probably don't want people online calling you fat all the time because you're the person in the audience who did not like consent to being like bullied is now seeing you be bullied online, and that probably affects them as well. You care about your audience and you care about their mental well-being just as much as you care about your own. You care about your own in the sense that you know that you're going to be bullied more. You've lived with this bullying. You're going to get bullied by not just like the people in your school, by like literally everyone on the internet. And I think that this is very detrimental to you. Yes. Okay. So who is the person that is like most important in this way? I think that this person is you. What doing a face reveal does makes it so that you are now no longer have the protection of anonymity. You no longer have like a way to like go back. A face reveal is permanent. You can't just be like, oh no guys, that was a fake face reveal. You face revealed. You're now like permanently, this is your face online forever. I think that like you lose the protection of having a little bit of anonymity, and you have it so that you are then bullied online and you hurt your mental health in the same way. So this is why I am so proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll now call from the yellow.
Okay, is everyone ready? Okay. So given the fact that I'm really, really fucking single, but yet every time I go to debate social, debaters are fucking ugly, okay? And like I just generally don't think that like your skill and your ability and your talent needs to be correlated with how you look, right? I think there's a lot of people. There's some NU people. I'm not gonna throw them out there who aren't that attractive. Okay? But yeah, they have so much fucking clout because they're talented, because they're good. No one's gonna stand up here and be like, oh, you know, this like really, really goated fucking world's break like top speaker is like really, really fucking ugly, okay? It's because their talent overcompensates for this. I think it's perfectly reasonable to assume that like you have other reasons for pursuing your passions, for pursuing like, you know, your your interest in life and for being famous, connecting to an audience that doesn't really correlate with the fact that you're just scared to put your face out there. A lot of people are willing to make this trade-off. We see this happen in the status quo. Okay, so I'm gonna do a few things. I'm gonna talk to you about why, first of all, you probably get more famous, and secondly, about why privacy is not super important. Okay, this first thing is you probably get more famous. Most people need to put a name to a face. Right? When I hear the words, Max Rosen is a really good debater, do I really know what that looks like? Can I spot him at a tournament? Can I really watch videos of him and recognize who he is in front of all these debate white boys? No, okay? I think it's really important for me to put a name to a face, especially if you're someone who's not like Taylor Swift level famous, who you don't have like a lot of outreach, you're still trying to break into markets, you're still trying to like get more fans and stuff like this. I think it's really important to get this like face to name recognition. I think even in cases where people hide their faces, people like Daft Punk, people like Marshmello, they clearly still rely on this, they do this replacement, right, where they like have this new image, right, how they have like, you know, they put on mask or something, right? Clearly, it means that they're overcompensating for something, you know, that already exists, right? So I think even if you have nothing, even if you're like Banksy, right, it becomes difficult for people who are not already fans, first of all, or if you're not that famous, to have new people recognize you and to get this like attention out the get-go. I think this is bad, you know, on their side. I don't think it's super charitable for them to assume that this person is just like the ugliest motherfucker ever. He's probably just fucking average, okay? Like he's probably like not super hot, but probably not like really, really bad, right? And I don't think people are like that mean to average people anyways. There's a lot of people within the entertainment industry. Fucking like Kanye, like Eminem, they're not like that attractive people and they're successful because they're success, right? So clearly I think that your skill can overcompensate for this, right? I think like even if you're super duper hot, right, you get bullied anyways, right? Taylor got called she got like, you know, a lot of shame because she had a skinny ass in 2014, right? I think you're gonna get flack no matter what you look like. It's just in our situation, you're clearly passionate about what you do. You clearly, you know, like that you're a content creator. You want to continue this. I think it's something that you're more than willing to accept because you're actually so deeply immersed in this world. Okay. I think, like, what are the impacts of this then? I think that actually on our side, when you change things, when you suddenly, you know, reveal your face, you get several things. First of all, you can create a sort of event out of it. This is really, like, the reason why shows like The Masked Singer are so successful, because they create, like, an event around this big reveal, right? I think this way, you can attract more people and like, kind of bait them into something that's, like, eventful, right? Or, like, we see this with their example of, like, Dream or Dream Animations. I don't really watch on YouTube, but I've heard this stuff from my like anime dweeb friends. Okay, so I think otherwise, moreover, rather than just like this initial boost of energy, this inertia continues as your career goes on, because continuously you can profit off of this one event of like revealing your face, right? You can, you know, suddenly everyone can now recognize you. Oh, you're that guy who did a really dramatic face reveal. You're that guy who, you know, now like everyone knows who you are, stuff like this. Yeah.
Wouldn't you want people to like prioritize actually caring about your content rather than having people just follow you because like you're.
I don't think so, right? I think a lot of the times, right, like the music industry literally knows that like big ass and tits are the ones that makes you click on the YouTube video, right? But I think it's those initial triggers, it's those initial baits that really get people get people hooked into like music, into culture, into movies, right? It's like for that, I think this is like, you know, happened throughout a lot of times. I think you're more likely to get people be like, oh, I'm gonna click on this because it's interesting, and then oh wait, it's actually really, really good music. Okay, I think the impacts of this probably is just that you get more famous, right? Either in our worst case scenario, you only profit off of this initial face reveal, but likely, you know, people can continue putting your name to a face, actually recognizing you in public, actually going to your concerts and seeing what you look like when you open for like a big name at a concert or stuff like this, and likely that's just gonna make you more famous. It's gonna make you more comfortable money-wise, less financially insecure. I do think that outweighs any privacy claims, because I think ultimately, right, you need to be secure in your own life, secure that you can, you know, not fail as an artist, not have your reputation gone to shit and shit like that. I think this is really important. Okay, why is privacy not important then, right? Because like you're not that fucking famous, okay? Like I don't think people are gonna like literally hound you at the airport like BTS whenever you land somewhere. I don't think you can eat a single meal without people like you know, like coming at you and like, you know, like talking to you about who you are and asking for selfies, right? So I think that probably on a day-to-day level, this doesn't really impact you that poorly, right? But even if it does and you get all this social media hate, again, I told you before that you probably don't actually care that much if first of all the trade-off is more fame, and if second of all you've come to terms with the fact that your life is going to be invaded to such an extent when you've decided to become a public figure in the first place. I think moreover this recognition is really good because you're going to actually access a lot of economic impact. So just first of all, you're going to create more audience meetups when people actually, you know, can talk to you as a person, can like hug you, can look you in the eyes and tell you how much they love you. I think that kind of fan to artist relationship is really important, and it's the reason why artists do meetups before their concerts. I think second of all, it's fine to get recognized in public, right? I think if people are fucking respectful and they just ask you like in the restaurant, hey, can I get a signature? Can I get a selfie? Right? I think these are positive like feedback mechanisms, and they're gonna, you know, make you feel good about your success in the world. I think third of all, you're gonna be able to generate at least some sort of brand image, right? Maybe like things about your image, things about your face, just things about like you can put your face on merch and shit like that. Like I nowhere in the info that doesn't say that you have like, you know, like a mask that you put on, or you have like any other good indicators of like, you know, like your image or your brand, right? I don't think that exists. Right? I think lastly, we can probably just make more connections within the industry, right? I think a lot of Hollywood is fucking fake, right? It's just people like, you know, fucking each other, people like, you know, like making like face-to-face connections, and you talking your way through it and getting more famous that way. I think you're way more likely to access all of these positive economic impacts and recognition impacts when, you know, you actually do reveal your face to people, when people can look you in the eyes and make that connection. And it's super powerful, very proud to oppose.
Photo of this guy viewing.
Oh, sorry. Wait, sorry. My allergy.
My speech will begin on my first word. Thank you, panel. I'm going to be doing a few things for you today. First, I'm going to be starting off with some direct refutation of opposition's case, and then some rebuilding of my partner's case, as well as bringing a little bit more kind of weighing and impact on what you as a person actually care about most as a content creator. So, side opposition tries to tell you that what you're really looking for here is fame, and then this is going to make you like super famous. This is going to like skyrocket you. You're going to get tons more fans, and this is going to be amazing. We don't necessarily immediately see this as being true. Just revealing your face doesn't actually immediately entail getting more fans. There are plenty of content creators out there who have shown their face and who have their face out there, yet aren't that big and aren't blowing up for it. People don't necessarily just come to you for your face, because most of the time when people are coming to you for your content, like and watching you, they want to see your actual content and the things that you are producing. And that's something that you're also going to care about as a content creator. You don't want people to just be like, you want people to care about what it is that you're actually producing, especially since you've already like started out faceless. So you've already been like doing this and creating this content, and you want want that to be the like, priority and what people are actually gathering from you in the content you're creating, because you probably care a lot about what it is that you're making. As well, we see that this like talent will like overcompensate for ugliness. Like people in debate aren't that attractive, but like still have clout. But the thing is, this is extremely different because this is in person, and that's where like the real clear like change and delta here is that this is an online space. And guess what? Haters online are way more fucking rude than they are in person. Nobody is necessarily gonna go up to your face and be like, oh, you're ugly, I hate you, your nose is bad, blah 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 blah. But you know what? They will do that online, and they will do it relentlessly and tirelessly. Because if you get onto this hate train, if you end up on the wrong For You page in the wrong community, you can receive like tirades of hate on you, which is going to have, I'll take a pew out about 5 minutes, which is going to have a much more negative and like compounding effect on your mental health than anything that like is in person. So we don't necessarily see this as being this like trade-off of like talent versus like overcompensating for this, because the internet can be such a hostile place for people. As well, we see that like you're still able to be famous without having a face. We see this like creators like Daft Punk and Marshmello and Banksy, who are able to have these like massive followings and massive amount of influence on things, especially people like Banksy, the like influence that they can have without needing to have that face. They're still able to like get a push, get a pull, and like make a difference in like society and things. So you don't need to have your face out there to do this. We also see that it's like for brand recognition. Like you're able to like now create a brand, put your face on clothes, like this is gonna be great. But the thing is, you can do this without needing to show your face. You can do this with like having a thing like Marshmello does, having like that kind of face, that mask recognition, where you're still able to like create a brand and create a content like Dream did without needing to have your face attached to it. So you can still have some sort of distance for yourself. Because maybe you don't necessarily want to be a content creator for the next 40 years, and at some point maybe like this dies down and you want to go on and like live a normal life later on. It's going to be much easier to be able to detach yourself from this brand and this kind of identity that you've created when you haven't directly tied your face to it and made this kind of decision that you can't come back from and then you can't necessarily get away from. So we also see they say that like privacy isn't that important. Like it's not that important because it's probably not going to happen. But we don't necessarily see this as being true, because you know what? There are some fucking crazy people out there on the internet who have way too much time on their hands and will spend the hours on the internet to get to you. Because what you get on our side is you're giving them the ability to do that. You're giving them the choice. So even if it doesn't happen in like 100% of situations, you're opening yourself up to that risk. And more than that, you're opening your family and friends up to that risk. Yeah?
I don't think this is mutually exclusive, right? If I'm posting videos and my voice is fucking terrible, right, then this still happens.
Yeah, definitely. Except for, is it really easy to look at somebody and go, oh, hey, I recognize your voice. I think you might be this. And then I go, oh, yeah, actually, I think I kind of just sound like them. It's really not that alike. It's much easier to, like, roll it off and, like, play it off sounding like somebody, because that's not a 100% given. So many people around the world, like, sound like each other. But it's so much harder to do that when you've actually shown your face. Maybe you have a scar that is, like, easily identifiable, that you cannot deny at all that this is you. Or you have, like, some sort of, like, colored hair like I do, and it's much harder to, like, deny this. You have that bit where you can't necessarily just easily, like, brush past this. So you're more likely to actually be, like, encountering these people. We also have that, like, maybe people aren't necessarily hating on you right now, but the thing is, cancel culture exists, and it's really fucking easy to get canceled online. It's really easy to accidentally say something insensitive or accidentally say something that gets people to come at you and hate you. And now, when you have this, like, thing that can potentially happen to you, this is where you're going to get that actual, like, hate coming towards you personally, where now people are hating on you because you maybe, like, said an insensitive tweet a bunch of years ago, and they can now find your face, they can find your parents, your family, and friends who have probably shown you online and aren't necessarily taking this enough security measures to protect themselves from it. You've now opened all of them up and yourself up to this hate and up to people following you home. But uniquely, when you continue to be faceless and you don't reveal your face, you still have that disconnection from this, where you're able to not necessarily have people, like, coming at you or stalking you. So this brings me back to some of my rebuilding here of my partner's points about specifically, like, your mental health. Because there's probably, like, some reason or decision that you've made to keep your self private online. We understand that, like, you probably still were, like, bullied as a kid. You probably have faced, like, things in society, like having your mental health ruined by images online and social media, where you have, like, some self-consciousness about your looks. And this is going to be severely heightened when you're receiving, like, any comments online. Because people are online and they have that anonymity of being more harsh, this is going to have a really negative effect on your mental health. And we think you as a person are going to care about how you feel mentally more than you are about, like, how many followers you have on that like, because you care about your own mental health and, like, keeping yourself safe and healthy. So we also see this as like opening yourself up to like sexualization if you're a woman or a minority. Like you might not necessarily be that attractive, but like creepy old men online are gonna be creepy old men online, whether you're a 10 or a 2. And this completely opens yourself up to that. And you're going to have people sexualizing you, which is now a whole new thing that you're going to have to deal with, which is also like going to burden on your mental health. And like my partner mentioned, is you also probably care about your fans as a content creator. And there are going to be fans that like look like you and kind of have the same features. And now you're like opening your fans up to seeing this hate that you're getting, to seeing somebody that looks like them being hated on having them hated on for it, which is going to reflect back on your fans' mental health, especially when so many of the like people following people online are young children and like kind of impressionable people. And you're probably going to care a lot about not necessarily even just yourself, but also the image that this is now presenting to other people, because now your place isn't necessarily a safe space for these people. Maybe your comment sections are now flooded with hate, and these people are going and seeing this, and it's compacting not only on you, but now having an effect on your fan base who you also care about. So this is why it's really important that you should not face reveal, because you're going to be putting your privacy and your safety at risk. You're going to be worsening your mental health and your image. They're not necessarily going to be focusing as much on your content, and you're also opening up your fan base to having the same kind of negative mental health impacts.
Fantastic.
Yellow is my favorite.
And to confirm, 7 minutes?
Yes,
Okay, fantastic. Let's go, bitch. 10 minutes each.
Okay, is everybody good?
Yep, whenever you're ready.
Okay, so. I'm going to start with some refutation of the entirety of the government case and then go into some reconstruction, point out how they never took down any of our mechanisms and why we clearly win this debate on all of the weight. So, firstly, dealing with some refutation. We hear two pushes from it. Firstly on privacy and safety, and secondly on bullying. Let's deal with this privacy and safety thing. I think they largely assert that when you put your face online, you are going to be like instantly doxxed immediately. I don't really think that they clearly mech out how this is likely to happen, and I have a couple of responses for why this is unlikely. The first thing is, we think that you are reasonably care about your privacy and so have been, in the past, careful about your digital presence to the extent that you are probably not posting a whole ton of things on social media. So what they say is, you can like look back and recognize them from a photo from like 2005. But I think that this leap is super, super hard to make, and we don't think it's completely realistic 100% of the time. I think the risk mitigation here is quite low. But secondly, we want to tell you that like all of the things my partner brought up in the POI, like how you can sound alike to someone, you can just say you look alike to someone, and people aren't going to recognize you immediately. But more importantly, we want to tell you that it's pretty hard to completely protect yourself from every little blunder, even when you're faceless. You could accidentally mention where you live, you could accidentally mention some little detail about yourselves. We think that the risk to privacy is not a huge change on their side of the house. Furthermore, this will come in a lot later, this analysis, is that tons and tons of people online have their face up, and not all of them are being doxxed and followed and harassed all of the time. It's not 100% clear why this would uniquely happen to you, having been a faceless creator who now people want to see, and I think we need to way more work out of them on that front. And this actually moves me into the second theme about bullying, and I want to preface something here. Nowhere in the info slide does it say that you are one ugly motherfucker. You could just as easily be quite attractive, or more recently, be very average looking. And we think that a lot of their mechanizations rely on the fact that you are ugly and people bully you for that, and we don't think that this is necessary and guaranteed on their side. But even if you don't buy this, a couple of things. The first thing is, I think that it's clear that your fan base likes you, and when we asked in question period, your fan base is a relatively normal fan base. And we think that there's going to be some amount of people who are going to symmetrically simp and support you on the other side and defend you from these haters. We think that they completely ignore these people who are likely to stand up for you and protect you, and like how that could balance out any of their harms they're talking about. We also want to tell you that the attention you get is still positive. If we buy that you are going to be like doxxed and people are going to come after you, then you have to buy our mechanization about how you are going to become more famous, more people are going to find out about you, because this clearly creates a huge social media swell. And you could very easily leverage this attention to kind of like talk against these issues. If you have parts of your fan base calling you out for being super, super ugly, you could use your platform to talk about why that's bad and why that's horrific, and that could potentially help all the fans that you care about on their side of the house as well. But again, I do want to reiterate, millions of people have their faces online and don't get treated like this. It's not clear why you going from faceless to having a face is going to lead to this reaction. We don't think that we have seen sufficient mechanization here. even in the most charitable instance of their side. We think that it is a temporary flow of hate that you get, which you can leverage into growing your career, becoming more famous, and that's probably a good thing. In the worst case, we do want to weigh this bullying and this privacy with the expansion of fame that likely comes on our side of the house, which is why I'm going to move into some reconstruction right now. So, my partner gives you a couple of things. The first thing is some framing, on namely why privacy is less important than fame. I think it's pretty clear here. If you are looking to become more stable, to keep this as a job, you want to continue to grow your fan base, continue to be financially successful, it's reasonable to take some amount of risk for privacy to make that happen. We think it's relatively clear is that you're at a point where you are considering not revealing your privacy, and that this risk is lower than the potential benefits of being famous and having huge expansions to your income. We provided 4 main mechanizations for why it's possible to get to get more famous and more attention and more economic gains because you reveal your face. The first thing is, people are clearly much more impersonable and much more relatable when you have a face. This is, I think, the main rationale behind so many people putting their face online, is so people can relate to them. They can see that it's a real person, and so they don't have to be attached to this weird box online. Secondly, we tell you that it allows you to access in-person events more easily, and this is a huge way to connect with your fan base and grow your revenue. Thirdly, we told you about how you can make this into an event. This is what Dream did. People were pushing him forever to have a face reveal, and when he did it, it was one of the biggest things online that year. It was a huge thing that drew so much attention to him and his content. And I think this does access what they were talking about, which is that you care about people looking at your content. The fame directs people to your content, and even if they're looking at your face more than the content, it's still generating revenue for you to produce this content. I'll take a POI.
Another one of Dream's really famous videos is actually one where he was pretending to do a face reveal and having these kind of baits where you're able to get a lot more clickbait out of that and get those same views and interactions with your content.
I think that probably that only works once. I think people will get used to it. And I think the face reveal thing has these long-term impacts that are also super useful that have not been touched on, namely the in-person events, the in-person ability, but also, as my partner pointed out, the connections that you have the potential to make in these businesses like Hollywood and in the music industry, where if you have to keep your face so secret that you can't show anybody, then it's really, really hard to network and gain a huge advantage in these places, and that's bad. We would rather you are able to network and connect, and these are clearly going to help you become more famous and have more economic success. The second thing my partner talked to you about is this weighing on privacy. Again, you are not insanely famous, as we asked in the QP. Even if people do come to talk to you in person, they follow you around, I think, firstly, it's not going to happen super, super often. But secondly, we tell you that, again, in public, most people are quite respectful. And even if we buy this characterization that these people are entirely online, we've told you why so many people online don't get this treatment, and it's unclear why you would on this side of the house, especially when you have a fan base that's been encouraging you to have this face reveal and is likely to support you, even if you were super ugly. Again, it's not clear why you are. One thing I want to tack on here is I think that there is a cliche that is probably quite true, which is that when a criminal commits a crime, they want people to know that they did it. This is the whole cliche behind Scooby-Doo movie shows, but I think it's actually true, which is that people want to feel like they can get credit for the work that they are doing. And I think it's reasonable to assume that this is at least some marginal gain for your mental health, for your fulfillment, because people now know that it is you and you are a person separate from the work, but still creating this work, and you can get value out of that. So, the weighing here, I think, is quite clear. They bring basically this one point on privacy and bullying, and we tell you that, firstly, it is not a huge risk to your privacy, because it is actually hard to track people down from just a face, especially when they've been careful otherwise. Secondly, we've told you how this bullying point is probably heavily mitigated, because A, it's going to be temporary, B, you could just not be ugly, and third, people are going to support you and stan you and simp over you. And we prove to you why this is one of the best ways, with 4 separate mechanisms, to increase your career, to become a more stable professional. And even if you decide in 40 years that you want to step down away from this job, we think that the fact that you have made enough money, that you have enough fame to do this stably is probably a net good thing. For all these reasons, so proud to oppose. Thank you.
people make short-term, like, you know, trade-offs for like long-term, probably continuous success all the time. I have a chem test soon, and I'm here debating about like Daft Punk's fucking face. And I'm doing this because I just get a lot of enjoyment out of debating and a lot of enjoyment out of doing something I love. And like, you know, I just don't think everything needs to hinge on whether the fact that you're gonna maybe be sad when you're 40, you have kids, and people thought that you were ugly like 20 years ago. We don't think this is important, right? We think a lot of the impacts that we prove to you are the facts that, you know, are the reason why we should vote up. Okay, so I think their entire case rests on the fact that you're ugly. Our case just rests on the fact that you look like a person, you know, that you're not like fucking Shrek's brother, okay? I think first of all, I'm gonna give you this first statement. Are you likely to be more famous? Second of all, like, you know, this idea of privacy. So I think nothing was really taken down through our 4 mechanisms, as my partner said, right? So I told you about how you get this initial boost of inertia when you make this really momentous event about like a face reveal. Op said, oh, you can just lie, right? Dream did it, he baited people. And it was one of his most popular videos because people got baited and they fucking cared. That's why they clicked on the video, right? They probably learned about Dream that way. But I think, moreover, putting a name to a face, having those in-person connections, having the fact that you can look someone in the eye, how you can recognize them on red carpets, and you can probably like make a better social media account, means that, you know, this is really, really important. Op says, oh, this is like your niche, you know, people like the fact that you're like dark and mysterious and shit. I think this only affects the fans who are in your stratosphere, right, who think that, you know, you being like, you know, faceless is really, really important. And I think we proved to you how, A, if these people are already supportive of you to such an extent they don't even need to like your brand or your face, they probably won't drop you once you reveal your face, you know? I think secondly, we only prove to you, like, we get the good side, we probably get more fans out of this, you know, bait and switch activity where you reveal your face and on our side. I think Op says, oh no, the fans are gonna get are likely very surface level and superficial. I think you can't expect your fans to be dedicated to the point that I am to Taylor Swift, that I've made 3 CP motions about her, right? But even if you do, right? Like even if, you know, like they really, really want these fans, right? Even if people who are casual, who are only in it for your face, if they still click on your videos, if they still laugh at a few of your jokes, if they stream a few of your songs and recognize you, they have the potential to fall deeper into your rabbit hole and, you know, spend more time within your stratosphere, consume more of your content later on. This is good. I think even like any publicity is good publicity. Okay, this idea of privacy and ugliness, right? Again, I tell you that they hinge most of their case on the fact that you're an ugly motherfucker. We also think that most people, like YouTubers, TikTok, celebrities, they get hate. They accept that this is just a trade-off of like their life, right? With more fame, power, sex, drugs, whatever. I think moreover, there are ways that you can make yourself feel better about yourself. Essentially, privacy is not super important. I think this is an okay trade-off for more stability down the road, for more fame, for more time being able to do things that you love with the people who care about you and who love you. I think I'd rather take one hate comment rather than, you know, not being as economically stable as I am, as not having enough recognition within my field and stuff like this. I think a lot of times it just happen, right? Clearly, you know, exposing your face has a good impact. This is the reason why most celebrities, most creators have done this. Very proud of us.
Last but not least, I'll call upon the government of Hart to go through the experience.
Side opposition straw mans our case, saying that our only impacts occur if this happens, if you have immediate danger and like you are an ugly motherfucker. But I don't think that all our impacts still stand, even if these dangers is not immediately apparent, and even if we aren't like this ugly motherfucker that they think our case relies on. You will still have haters no matter what, and you will still be people doxing you. This face reveal is forever. You'll never be allowed to take it back and say this is not me. I think this is why we are so proud to propose. So today I'll be doing 2 things. I'll be refuting all of opposition's case, explaining to you why we still win this round, and explaining to you our like big impacts and how we achieve those impacts on our side by not doing a face reveal. Okay, first off, they give us like this whole case relies on their whole case relies on this idea like, oh, it's a trade-off of being popular. You won't be popular without it. But I think we don't have to make this trade-off. This is like the key in this round. We don't have to make this trade-off to be popular. I think like there's examples of status quo that this is true with like Marshmello, who like has concert, who's able to interact with fans, who's able to like be popular in status quo. You don't need to like trade off your whole privacy, your everything to be famous. And this is like this idea like, oh, fame is like beauty is like pain. I think like we don't need to have pain to be beautiful. I think you like just do things that are that make you be popular without like having to trade off these things, trade off your privacy, trade off like your family's privacy. I think also a lot of the reputation relies on like, oh, you're probably safe with your like online appearance. You're probably able to like, you probably are like somewhat like hidden in the like online. I think that this doesn't really exist. You can't put your family accountable to these things. And like even if you are the most safe person, you can't say like, oh, the school records that have your face from like 3 years ago posted online. I think that like you aren't able to actually like, you are having your like whole family docs. You are probably not as private as you think you are. I think like this is, yeah. On to that matter, I think like this like idea that like little accidents happen in status quo, you are able to like accidentally dox yourself. But what we can do is not do it on purpose. If you do it by accident, fine, you suffer the consequences. But if you don't do it on purpose, you're doing this on purpose and actively harming yourself, and that's what matters like a lot as well. I think like you like no matter. I think that their case also relies on like both. You're not that famous in the first place, but also you'll get more famous. If you get more famous, you'll then get our impacts of like becoming like super hated on. Like if you have one hater, one stalker is enough to like kill you. I think like this is very important that like no matter like how like famous you get, if you get 1 million followers but you then get followed home after school or after work one day, this is then bad for you. And I think what my partner brings up in their speech is especially important. Is that like you probably don't want to be like if you want to be a content creator forever, fine, but you could most people probably don't want to be content creators forever. They probably want to have like a certain extent of like becoming a regular human being and having a job outside of this. And like this matters especially when you aren't able to like take it back. You're then gonna be known forever as, hey, are you that one person? And instead of being able to be like, oh no, denying it that I'm not that person, they just go, beep boop, this is your face reveal, this is you. How are you not the same person? And then you like then ruin everything, right? I mean like what matters most in our side that like we want to have a normal life. We want to be able to actually like be a person while still being able to spread our content. I don't think we need to be like this, like we need to show our face to spread our content, because a lot of people don't do it in status quo, and like they are still very famous. And like I think that we can still build our fame off of just what our art is, like being like a good like vandalizer. I don't know what Banksy does. I'm sorry. Do art, right? I think like you are able to still achieve fame in status quo. You are still able to achieve like you are still able to achieve the like amount of recognition for your work by just like without showing your face, and the face is not what's reliant on you becoming famous. And I think like their whole case then falls in that sense. What do we prove? We prove that you lose your safety when you do a face reveal, and you are also more able to counter like bullying from your audience. No matter how like normal you are looking, no matter how hot you are, you will have a hater. You'll have one hater at least. One hate comment is enough to ruin your day. 1 million good comments is not enough to counterbalance this. This is why I'm so proud to propose.
Fantastic. Let's go for excellent round. You guys can, the results for this go wherever. The results for this round will be announced on awards. So, yes.
Thank you, Bill.
So